On the show today, we focus on individuals who have faced difficult challenges in their lives.
And how their faith has given them purpose and the strength to overcome. That's all in this edition of Game On.
What's up? Welcome into Game On. As always, alongside Rhett McGibbon, I'm Matt Warner.
Yeah, we're so glad you've joined us for today's show, and it is a special one. Today, we're focusing on individuals who have overcome incredible challenges within their lives, and we begin with a young lady who has inspired Liberty University.
Yeah, that's right. You know, it's said that God gives his hardest battles to his toughest soldiers. That certainly seems to be true in the case of Yana Babbitt. The Liberty athlete has faced more than her fair share of challenges, the latest of which has tested her both physically and spiritually. She's being tested. But as you're about to see, she refuses to be defeated.
That was probably one of, if not the toughest day. I'm pretty sure that was the toughest day I've had as a coach.
Before the accident happened was one of my best seasons ever. I was very motivated.
It was a pretty regular and routine exercise that she was going through. We were doing step-ups on a box.
That whole summer I was training and I wanted to get better and better.
All of a sudden I see Yana kind of coming off the box a little bit different. I could tell that, you know, it didn't look right.
I came down to racket and my foot tripped up and I sat straight down with 135 pounds on my back. They were checking everything to see how much movement I was feeling. And one of the officers took the shoes off and he asked how it felt. And at that moment I realized that I was losing feeling on my legs. I remember there'd be times that I would get the kids up before the worker came in and like get them dressed and like get them ready, and I just enjoyed the fact that I was helping out and I felt like I was needed.
A sense of purpose meant a lot to this young girl, growing up in a Bulgarian orphanage.
The older you get, then the more you kind of realize that, oh, the older I get, the harder it's going to be for me to get adopted, because a lot of families are looking for babies or toddlers, younger kids that they can grow into their family.
Yana was born with cleft lip and palate, and surgery had failed to fix it. At 9 years old, the prospect of adoption was a long shot. But that's when an American family stepped in and chose her. It was exciting, yet bittersweet.
I remember like the actual day that they adopted me, and it was kind of heartbreaking because Bulgaria is all that I knew and the orphanage is all that I knew. And so to leave everybody there, I remember I was crying as like the car was leaving the orphanage, and it was very hard, but at the same time I was very happy too, because it's like I'm gonna get a better life in America.
Her new life in Connecticut saw much growth. Yana had successful surgery, learned English, and was now a part of a loving family. Her early life struggles had also forged a competitive drive that translated onto the playing field. Yana excelled in sports and was given an opportunity to compete in the javelin at Liberty University. She put in the work and she found success. But then came that fateful day. Yana's back injury was unstable, so she was transported to UVA Medical Center for surgery.
The doctors were telling my athletic trainer and the coaches that it wasn't looking good. I wasn't going to be able to come back walking from it because of how bad it was.
In spite of the dire warnings, Yana held out hope, and she would cling to her faith.
During that whole time, I never felt alone. I never felt like I was doing this on my own, because the athletic trainer, Mary, was there, the coaches were there, everybody was just praying, and even the whole school was even praying because they heard about my accident.
Surgery was a success, and Yana's first glimpse of hope began with a wiggle.
The nurse goes, "Hey Mary, did she tell you yet?" I was like, "Tell me what?" She was like, "She has movement." I was like, "What?" So I turn around and bust into her room, and she's like, "I can move my toe." And I'm like, "No way." And so she pulls back the blanket, and sure enough, her big toe is able to just move a little bit. But I've never been more excited for a big toe to move in my entire life. Like, we are crying, we are laughing. You're holding on to hope and you're holding on to faith, but that was that moment of like, this is real. Like, God is working a huge miracle here.
The road to recovery began at a rehab center in Atlanta. Yana continued to make progress, cheered on by her Liberty family.
What are you doing?
She was walking again, a stark contrast to her early prognosis. But with each step forward, Yana was also moving into the difficult reality of living injured.
Within this past year, I would say it's been the hardest. When it first happened, it was easy to talk about God, and it was easy to share that all that God's done in my life, and knowing that, okay, I'm gonna be able to come out of it. But then after I came back, and the last 4 or 5 months has not been easy, because I'm now able to walk, I'm able to do everything, but at the same time, I'm in a lot of pain. And the rest of my life, I now...
Living each day with the physical struggles and the memories of what had been.
Some days are easier than others, but when it is the hard days, it's reminding me of how much I've lost. But I'm also reminded that I'm still growing, and I'm growing in Christ, and no matter how many times I fail in honoring God or giving it all to God, that He's still there for me.
Faith in the middle of the storm.
I want people to realize that walking with God is not easy. It's a daily struggle, but He's never gonna leave you, and He's always gonna be by your side, helping you through the challenges that you're going through.
Yana's injury has prevented her from ever competing again, but she's been able to stay involved with the sport she loves in a new role, as a coach.
Yeah, that seemed like a lot better on getting that hip around. I had to realize that my purpose here has changed. Instead of being the athlete, I am now helping out coach in any way that I can. Want to come more from the top, okay?
She's at a stage that it's not so obvious because she's not in a cast. It's not so obvious because she's not in a wheelchair anymore and on crutches. So people kind of forget about it. In, out, out, there you go. And it's good because she wants to be treated as normal, but it's hard because she doesn't feel normal, and there's still a lot of pain and a lot of process left to go.
An enduring reminder of the past, but through her struggle, Yana looks forward and sees the greater purpose.
To reach others for Christ. So any way that I can reach others through my story is what I want to do, and I want to be an encouragement to people.
When we come back, he's the longtime head coach of the Liberty soccer team, but it's been off the field he's faced his biggest challenges.
And later, meet a boxer from the mean streets of Philly who's helping kids avoid making the same mistakes he did. That's all when Game On returns.
You know, conventional advertising says we should start with an arbitrary quote from a historic figure. It should make us sound nostalgic and wise.
Horizon showing where I long to be. Outward bound I travel on through rain or shine. Where empty.
Now we're supposed to cut to some slow motion footage of beautiful students to complete the package. Are you ready to apply now? Wait, scrap that. Listen, we're all tired of forced authenticity, and we don't want to waste your time with contrived quotes and stock footage. Let's try something different. You See, we believe in the challenge of a valuable education, the kind that keeps you well into the night as you search for the stars, the kind that prepares you for your dream job of changing the world. We love our beautiful campus where diversity can be seen in the color of our skin and the service we engage in. We paint up, rise up, and stand up for truth. On 4th and 1, oh, you better believe we're going for it because there's a fire in our hearts, a fire that burns for a better world. Like those who came before us, we're ready to roll up our sleeves and dig in. We have faith, hope, and love, so we become good fathers and mothers, co-workers and civil leaders, innovators, trailblazers, those who spark a revolution. We believe in training students how to remain true to their faith when the going gets tough, when those around you seem to rise against you. So if you're still watching, thank you. Let's build a better world for Christ. Liberty University, training champions for Christ since 1971.
Hey there, welcome back to the show. Much like the previous story about Yana, Liberty soccer coach Jeff Alder was also faced with some scary health challenges, but these would involve his family. It was during these difficult times that his faith would be shaped and his Liberty family would show just how much they cared.
Coach Jeff Alder is a fixture in Liberty sports. He's been here pretty much since his parents dropped him off as a freshman, playing, then coaching as an assistant, and then finally as a head coach. He's led LU to 2 Big South championships and has had 23 of his players move on to play pro soccer. Of course, every head coach wants to rack up wins, but Alder's passion runs deeper than that. And that's where our story begins.
My family and I have decided our mission and our calling is to be at Liberty to invest our lives into the lives of the guys that God sends us. And part of that process is helping them go from being boys to becoming men.
Coach Alder's faith, philosophy, and passion are more than simply academic pursuits learned in a classroom. This strength of conviction has been born through personal trials. Jeff and his wife Lori had a son, Chandler, and a daughter, Grayson. Early on, however, Grayson struggled with some very serious health issues.
She was very sick her first 6, 7, 8 months. She was getting ear infections. She was getting sinus infections. She was constantly having different things.
When Grayson kept getting sick, it was really hard because I even had a doctor, because she was hospitalized a couple of times and we almost lost her a couple of times. And I had a doctor ask me, what are you doing at home? What are you doing? You're doing something. So obviously he thought I was doing something wrong.
And then finally, a doctor looked at some different things here locally and said, hey, something's not right. And they rushed us up to Charlottesville, and then come to find out, she was born without an immune system. So at 10 months old, the prognosis for us was if something didn't change with these T-cell counts, she was going to be looking at a bone marrow transplant at 10 months old. And they told us the likelihood of her living was not very good. And we would not accept that. We just would not accept that.
We just gave her to the Lord, and we knew that He might take her. But at least we knew where she would go. We knew that the likelihood of us getting to keep her was not great.
And we prayed, and we had people praying, and we were reading scripture over her. And God spared her life. Here we are 14 years later, and you're looking at, 13 years, 4 or 5 months worth of miracles because she's a miracle baby. Grayson is living proof of prayer and faith and grace and the impossible is nothing dream. She's it. You know, when I see her, you know, running and playing and doing stuff and acting, you can see God's handiwork daily in her life.
She is the biggest prayer warrior you ever want to meet at 14. Let's pray right now. That's the way Grayson is. She's probably the bravest and the best prayer warrior I've ever met.
The Alder family had trusted God through their trial, and He was faithful. That truth would strengthen them yet again as the family gets the news that Lori has breast cancer.
All the emotions that you had gone through, you know, really 13 years prior with our daughter, you know, we now had to start another journey with Lori of the unknown. And that faith walk that you try to take each day had started all over again.
You're dependent on God, but then you lean on each other too. And I guess I leaned on Him more than I'd ever had.
So our 15-month journey included me still coaching, still being involved day to day with my team, but also trying to be, you know, supportive in whatever way she needed me to be involved in helping my kids during this transition. I was trying to do a little bit of everything to help everybody I could.
There were times when he would get really hard, especially when I would go into surgery, he would get really upset. And that would be the most peaceful I'd be. I'd be so peaceful and I'm like, it's gonna be great, God's got me. And then that would be the time when he would need me, you know, to kind of give him a little spiritual pep talk.
We had a group of seniors that I loved, a group of seniors that were so special and so unique. And there were times where I could not give them everything that I wanted because our battle was different.
Those guys understood Coach's heart. And if you know Coach Alder, he loves the Lord. We know that he loves his family. That's clear as day. And we understand the concept of just the importance of supporting your family and being there for your family.
The seeds that Coach Alder had been sowing for years were beginning to show fruit. His team took the opportunity to support their coach and his family one rainy night in the form of some pink jerseys.
And then all of a sudden I look and our team is walking out side by side, head to toe in pink Nike uniforms. And I looked at her and I looked at them and these guys had decided to have a pink out game for us and to honor us that night as they helped us with this journey that we were on.
I mean, I looked a mess. I was bawling. My daughter was crying. My son even got a little tearful, I think. Knowing those guys and their hearts, it didn't really surprise me. This was a team that was a team in every respect because they were like brothers. They are like brothers. And I feel like that they're an extension of our family.
That's something you can't put a price on. You know, you can get a championship ring, you know, we can collect another trophy. That moment in time, you know, I took a mental snapshot of that and I'll never forget it. I mean, it's just, you know, one of the most gracious displays of love that I'll ever see.
Once again, God was faithful to the Alders. Lori is now cancer-free. Things may be getting back to normal, but the support the Alders have received from their Liberty family will not soon be forgotten.
Their willingness to pray for us, to support us, to encourage us through text, through phone calls, through individual meetings, they gave me more during that time. They taught me more during that time than I gave them.
No matter what they do or don't do on that field, in life, they are winners.
Still to come, fighting was all he knew. See how Buddy Osborne is using boxing and his life experience to help make an eternal difference in the lives of Philadelphia youth.
Stick around, that's all when Game On returns.
So you've chosen Liberty University. What's next? Well, you could study here, or here.
Or way out here.
You could build this, catch that, or play this. Sure, you'll have early mornings, long days, and some longer nights. But that's how we grow. No matter who you are, where you live, or what you want to do, your education starts here.
Meet William Byron, Liberty University student and Xfinity Series driver of the #9 Chevrolet. Since William was a child, he dreamt of racing. His continued partnership with Liberty University means he's able to pursue his college degree while chasing the checkered flag. Look for William Byron and the Liberty University #9 Chevrolet on race day during the Xfinity Series this season.
Hey there, welcome back to Game On. You know, on this week's show, we've been introducing you to people who have overcome incredible challenges in their lives. In the case of Buddy Osborne, his greatest challenge may have simply been where he was from, the mean streets of Philly. Buddy would go down some difficult roads early in life, but instead of running, he's now fighting to make a difference. Philadelphia, PA is a city rich in history and full of stories. Stories of passionate people who have true grit. From the fight for our nation's independence to a fight for the American dream, being tough is woven into the fabric of the Philadelphia story. A few miles away lives a man who has another epic tale.
Let's get this gym work in.
Fighter Buddy Osborne.
I was born and raised in Philadelphia and raised in the city of Kensington, right in this area. Kensington was always really a tough area. Men knew how to fight. Two men would just bare knuckle and just get it on, and it would be okay. You wouldn't have the killings that you have today.
Buddy was a rebel when he was young. His nature, combined with the raucous neighborhood of Kensington, provided just the right mix for the making of a fighter.
I had 90 amateur fights. I was rated in the top 10 when I was a boxer. I was 165 pounds, middleweight. Tough as nails, they would say.
Come on, get on top. When he stopped and punch, that's when you got out of love.
His boxing career started at the age of 13, and by 16, Buddy was considered one of the best fighters in the ring. He would win the Pennsylvania State Golden Gloves title just 3 years later, before eventually retiring at the age of 22.
You know, when you're in Kensington, I said this many, many years ago, you either become a roofer, a police officer, or a priest, or a convict, too. Became a chaplain, a roofer, and I served time in prison.
Life after boxing wasn't kind to Buddy. A work scandal would land a harsh blow that Buddy didn't see coming. It would have long-lasting effects that would change the course of his life forever.
There were 18 people indicted and 3 people held pretrial detention, meaning that they were held out as a menace to society, a threat to the community, that they did not want them out. They wanted to keep in pretrial detention. I was one of the 3. Who would have thought that?
Convicted roofer Mark Osborne is with us live from his home in Northeast Philadelphia, where he is literally under house arrest. Did you pay off a police officer?
Did I pay off? Absolutely not.
Jury said you did. You correct me if I'm wrong. I hear you justifying what you did as opposed to saying, I made a big mistake and I'm sorry for it. I hear you saying, I did this because it's a dirty job and roofing's a dirty job and union organizing is a dirty job and people don't understand it. I don't hear you saying, I'm sorry.
Sorry for what? I'm going to be incarcerated for up to 8 years. What do I have to look for when I get out? Not my job.
Illegal activity by city officials led to a federal investigation and several arrests. Buddy was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison on racketeering charges.
Do you have to change? Do you see anything in your life that you need to change?
There's always improvement in everyone's life.
So a lady wrote me a letter when I was in there. And she said to me, she says, Buddy, Jesus has you in the palm of his hand. And I didn't understand what that meant completely. And it wasn't until, as I start to read scripture now, I said, you know what? He really does. He has a purpose and a plan for my life. I didn't understand it at the time. I had competed 90 times in amateur fights, traveled the United States boxing team, represent 13 times, was slated for the 1980 Olympics. I had a background in boxing and being tough. But it wasn't until I got out of prison 3 years later that I realized I still had that void. It was a very interesting time in my life, but I would never trade it or change it because of what I've learned from it. And now I'm living it in this community.
He would return home to Kensington looking for a fight. But this was a fight to make an eternal difference.
I left here when I was 26 to Kensington, and I came back when I was 45 with a Bible and a gym bag and a couple boxing gloves. If I think back, it was like, go back into the place where you were raised and train kids, but do a Bible study. And that's how it happened. So when we started, within 1 month, we had a Bible study right here. And while we were having the Bible study, there was gunfight out, bang, bang, bang. I'm like, we're in the right spot. We are in the right spot.
Just a few blocks away from the house where he grew up, Buddy's vision would come to life. His goal? To reach inner city kids for Christ through boxing.
Come on, quick. Do it again, come on.
The Rock Ministries of Philadelphia was founded in 2003 and provides activities like grappling, kickboxing, homework club, life skills, and so much more.
And when a kid walks through this door, I know everything that they've been through, that they're going through, that they're going to go through. Finish strong, last round. 9 out of 10 kids come in to this door have no father figure in their life. We have homeless kids right now. That's why we're building 2 homes right now for young men. We've seen over 8,000 kids come through our doors. We've seen so many kids come in, so many kids leave. And you know what they see? Consistency on our part. We haven't changed. We get older, we lose our hair, we get heavier, but the message stays the same. The message stays the same.
Forever the fighter, Buddy doesn't plan on quitting until that final bell.
I'm 56 years old, and I can't wait. I feel like I'm just getting started. Perfect. It's like I'm not tired. I just enjoy what I do, and I want to keep doing more, you know? Here we go, 1, 2. It's fun for me. See, I often tell people it's not how you start, but how you finish. And I want to finish strong for Christ.
Well, Buddy's story, just like the others we featured today, all point to the fact that if you lean on God, if you have a strong faith, you can overcome anything that comes up in life.
Yeah, and if you want to see more stories like these, check out our website, GameOnLU.com. Day or night, it's always there.
That's right. Check us out on social media as well, at GameOnLU. Well, he's Rhett McGibbon. I'm Matt Warner. Thank you so much for watching this week. We expect to see you right back here next week on Game On.
Did you know that USA Today called Liberty University's undergraduate program one of the most affordable in the nation? And through its quality education, 90% of students were employed within 6 months of graduation. Well, now you know.